Hello class and welcome. Today we are going to be learning how to solve one variable equations. So what's an equation? An equation is a statement of numbers stating something is equal to something. And what is a variable? A variable is a symbol that represents an unknown quantity. So now that we know what a variable and what an equation is, let's write an equation on the board. This equation states x minus 6 is 13, where x is our variable, and that is the unknown value that we are solving for. The first step in solving this equation is to isolate the variable. How do we isolate the variable? We do that by doing the inverse operation. That is just a fancy word for the opposite operation. And remember, this equal sign, everything that's done to one side must be done to the other. So if this equation states this is equal to this, well, if we mess with one side of the equal sign, we have to do the same thing to the other for the equation to stay true. So step one is to isolate the variable by doing the inverse operation. In this case, something x minus 6 is 13. The inverse is adding 6. So we would add 6 to both sides. So the opposite of subtracting is adding. Our 6's cancel out. We drop our x down. 13 plus 6 is 19. And we get x is equal to 19. We can check our work through a method called substitution, where we substitute our answer for the variable back into the problem. So we would have 19 minus 6 equals 13. Does 19 minus 6 equal 13? 13 does equal 13. And that states true. Let's work an addition problem. Here we have 16 equals 3 plus n. Although our variable is on the other side of the equal sign, that's okay. Our first step is still isolate the variable by doing the inverse operation. So we're stating something 3 plus something equals 16. So we'll subtract 3 from both sides. Our 3's will cancel. 16 minus 3 is 13. Equals, and we drop our n to get n. We can substitute this in to check our work. Does 16 equal 3 plus 13? And 16 is equal to 16. Let's go ahead and do one multiplication and one division problem. Here we have k divided by 8 is equal to 2. The opposite, still isolate the variable by doing the inverse operation. Do the same thing to both sides of the equal sign. And here's a table of stating what our opposites are. Dividing by 8. The opposite of that would be to times by 8. We must do it to both sides of the equal sign. Our 8's cancel. 2 times 8 is 16. And drop our k to give us k equals 16. Let's go ahead and check our work. Does 16 divided by 8 equal 2? 2 does equal 2. Let's do one more. We have this equation states 15 is equal to 5 times an unknown value. The opposite of timesing this to isolate this variable, that's right, would be to divide. And our 5's will cancel. Bring x by itself. 15 divided by 5 is 3. We can use substitution to check our work. 15 equal 15 equals 5 times 3. 5 times 3 is 15. 15 does equal 15. Okay, so we have learned how to solve one variable equations. Well, Mr. Lopez, why is this useful? Why do I need to know this? Well, let's do an example of, so you have an allowance of $75. Well, you have an allowance of $15. And you want a $75 gain. We can set up a one variable equation to see how long it would take to save up for your game. Your allowance is $15 a week. So we can do 15W equals 75. How many weeks will it take for you to save up for a game that is $75? Same thing. Isolate the variable by doing the inverse operation. We're timesing W times 15, so we would go ahead and divide. Both sides of the equal sign, because remember to balance. Well, our 15s cancel. We drop a W. 75 divided by 15 is equal to 5. Yep. And we can use substitution to check the work to make sure that it would take us 5 weeks. So there's 15 times 5. Yep. And a review of 15 times 5. We have 5 times 5 is 25. 5, 6, 7, so 75, yep, 75 equals 75. And that is how to solve one variable equations, and that is just one of many examples on why this is useful. And I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thank you.